All right, so now you all know you are all being recorded. So if you say anything, even though it's only going to be shared with us, it will be there for, what's that term?
Posterity.
Whatever, for a long time.
Posterity.
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 Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and welcome everyone to this first session of this offering of drawing for absolute beginners. If you are a wonderful, wonderful drawer, this is probably not the right class for you, unless you're teaching.
I'm leaving then. Okay.
Yeah, Terry Lynn is a wonderful, wonderful drawer. But if the rest of you have never even held a pencil for drawing purposes, you are in the right spot. And we gave this class, Terry Lynn, I think that was this did we offer this really early on in the pandemic, I think, right?
We did. I think it was the first one.
Yeah, it might have been the very first one. So learned a little bit since then. So you guys get like version 2.0, I guess is what we'd call it. But it's a lot of fun. I actually don't even know exactly what Terry Lynn's going to be having you draw this time. So it's kind of fun for me too. I will, as with all the classes, I will be here. I'm probably going to turn off my audio and video, but know that I'm back here if you need anything at all. I also have students sometimes text me during the class or something. They for some reason they don't want to call out a question or whatever, and so they text me and I ask it for them. But you're welcome to do that if you want to. But you can keep your audio on or off if you want, or toggle back and forth. Most of you guys know the drill. Video is kind of up to you, but it's a lot easier, I think, for Terry Lynn to be able to call on you if she can maybe see your faces, and I can see also if you look like you're struggling, because I'll be monitoring that. But it's up to you. If you'd rather not, that's okay. What else, Terry Lynn, do I need to tell us in terms of prep, or anybody else who's taking classes here? Anything?
Yeah, I think that's good. Do leave, if you don't mind. I mean, I just have you leave your microphones on. It's a small class. That's good. Any questions, any thoughts? Let me know. So
yeah. Okay, well, I think even though we're still missing Tammy, and we knew that the other Donna was going to be gone today, she's working on a kitchen remodel, and today they happen to be measuring for her countertops. So she thought she might want to be there. But she does say hello to everyone, and she's going to watch the recording, and she will join us hopefully for the rest of the session. So all right, so Terry Lynn, I will turn it over to you. If you want me to go through the peoples, I'm happy to do that. If you rather do it yourself, that's fine as well. Okay.
Sure. Thanks.
Go for it.
Well, I've had some of you before in class, but I haven't had everyone. So, oh, look at her go. So just a little background on me. I'm originally from Maine. I have been living in Asheville for about 3 years. I moved down there because my older daughter moved down with my 3-year-old grandson, and I wanted to be near him when he was young and build that relationship. And just as I was heading up here again, he's like, Mimi, why do you have to keep going to Maine? I'm like, because, you know, your cousin's up there and I have to go see her too, you know. So I take usually about 1,100 miles back and forth. My mother is still here. She's going to be 95 next month. So my background is I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, which means I majored in like drawing and painting. I also studied a number of other things because after about 10 years, I decided I probably would teach. I started doing an adult ed class at night. So when the kids were little, I could be bringing in some money while my husband was home, and then I'd go out. And I realized I liked teaching, and I went back eventually and got my education courses so I could do it full time. And eventually I taught foreign languages, but I also, of course, taught art. And I wanted to give my students as many options and media that they could possibly have so they could make a choice. So the first semester was just focusing and introducing all of these different things. I'd start with basic drawing, charcoal, pastel, oil, watercolor, not so much oil actually in the classroom. We did have some acrylics. I did pottery and sculpture, I think I said, and photography. So I wanted them to be able to try all these things and study them. And then in the second semester, this is high school, they could pick and choose what they wanted to work on and really focus on. And that grew really well. So it's just in the past 3.5 years or so that I have started focusing on pastels, soft pastels. I love the way the medium works. It's the most pure pigment. It's very little binder. You have to get your hands dirty, but I kind of like that. And I've even started making some of my own pastels. And the last couple of years, I just got a 3rd-inch show this week. I've been in some international shows. So those things are moving along, and that's pretty exciting. Drawing is one of the first things I started teaching. And I believe that basic drawing, as I said in my description, is the basis of every art form, whether you're going to do painting or pottery or even photography. Understanding form and line and composition and shading, that all ties into everything. And I have gone to some shows recently. Good painters, some of these people have really nice paintings, but if your drawing is off underneath, it just throws the whole painting off to me. If you have, the eye and stuff, like one had this beautiful figures and stuff like that, but if you look at the hand is about the size of your face. And she had these figures, and then the hands were like only as big as my palm. She had these tiny little hands on these people. And, or if your perspective is off, if you're doing a building and your perspective is not quite right, it's disconcerting. And it kind of throws you off from being fully involved, for the viewer to be fully involved in your painting. I am going to go through the absolute basics. I know a couple of you, we kind of did that with the painting your pets thing, but I'm going to start right at the base and build up from there, so you can have all the tools that you could possibly use. Now, if we need to move faster, we can. If we need to move slower, whatever. If somebody's asking me a question and you have that part, just go ahead and practice what we've been doing. And then I'll pull us all back together. But this is for you. And what I'd like to do now is kind of go through and have you quickly introduce yourself, just a short little introduction, and why you're in this class, and maybe a little bit what experience. So your name, I believe you all live in Nashville, probably, or nearby. Your name, any background you've had in art, and then what you want out of this class, and that'll help me guide it. Jean, from my point of view, Jean, you're first. I'm sorry.
Okay, and that's okay. I just want to make sure, I believe you guys have all been on Zoom classes or meetings or something. Are you guys all familiar with the difference between the gallery and the speaker view? Was Terry Lynn big during that when she was speaking?
Yeah, she's still big.
Yes, I still have her on spotlight, but I'm about to switch over to Jean. But I just wanted to make sure before we really got going that you guys saw what you need to see. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you spotlight 2 at once too, right?
I do, but
not this.
I don't want you today. I want to spotlight right now. I want to spotlight Miss Jean. But thank you, Terry Lynn, for reminding me I can do that.
Hi.
Hi.
I forgot what you.
What's your name? Any
Jean.
part you do, and why you're in the class. What you're expecting from the class.
Okay, so I dabble in quilting, and I've been doing the Zentangle group through Purple Crayon, and enjoyed that a lot. I actually did take a drawing class at AB Tech many years ago, probably 20 years ago, and I really enjoyed that. Just have been interested in art for a long time, and I wanted to take the class before, and it didn't fit my schedule, and now it does. So here I am. Just want to have some fun.
Excellent. Thanks. Next.
I think they're going to need to know.
All right. Jean H. I know it's different. I have a Jean. Okay, we have Jean K, Jean H.
Oh,
no, that's fine.
Okay, so you want Jean H to go next, Terry Lynn?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yep, if you would highlight her. Thank you.
There you go.
Okay. Jean H. I used to be in high school sometimes when there was another Jean, but you don't run into many Jean's.
Mm.
Do Jean. I have always liked creative things. I do a lot of sewing. I digitize designs to put on my grandchildren's t-shirts that they order. And I remember my 11th grade English teacher said, you know, you're pretty good at drawing. Maybe you should explore that. So, you know, quite a few years later, here I am. I haven't really done much drawing. I like all kinds of artistic things, but this is a real first for me. And I'm also having a little trouble with my computer. Whoever's speaking, except for me right now, is frozen. So I'm hoping when Terry Lynn was talking, she was like this the whole time. And so I'm hoping that I'll be able to, to make it work. So
Jean, one thing
I'm a real newbie.
you might try, Jean, if you continue to have problems, is turn off your video if necessary, and see if it's it cuts down the bandwidth. That might help you. I don't know. You can try it.
Okay.
How close are you to your Wi-Fi router?
We have it all over the house. I'm really
Okay.
close. Yeah.
Okay. Did I freeze for anyone else?
I could hear everything you said.
Okay.
I just couldn't see any change. So I'm hoping when you're drawing, I can see.
I hope so too.
But I'll turn off me. That'll help.
Yeah.
And if for some reason, Jean, just like everybody else, the class is recorded. So if you need to take it, look at it again, you'll certainly have that.
Okay, great.
All right. Donna M., my friend.
Hello, am I supposed to? Okay, oh, there I am. Okay.
Yeah, Pam will take care of it.
Donna M., Donna Mann. I live in Weaverville, and when I was going to school, there were many, many Donnas, and I still run into lots of Donnas, and I guess there's another Donna in this class. So
Yeah, she's not here today, but yes.
So I took Terry Lynn's class on watercolor, beginning watercolor, and I thought I would really stink at it, and I actually ended up doing okay. So I thought, thank you, Terry. Yeah. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to do any more watercolor or learn pastels, I have to know how to draw first. So then I can paint my drawings, and I don't want to have big or little hands. So, and I'm in Weaverville. Did I say that? Yeah. That's it.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Tammy? You there? I don't see her on my screen, or is Tammy?
No, Tammy's not with us right now. She didn't check in. So we have Pam is left, and that's it.
Okay.
So we'll let Pam go.
Pam, yeah, sorry. Oh, now we had two Pam. We had two Pams, two Donnas, two Tam. Oh my goodness.
2 jeans.
Hi, Pam.
Hi, Terry Lynn. So I took half of Terry Lynn's watercolor class. It was during the pandemic, and so my schedule changed, and there were I couldn't do the last half of the class, but I still have it recorded, so I do go back to it and dabble around. But like whoever spoke last, I realized, and I've known this forever, that not knowing how to draw, not knowing how to render perspective, and all of that, as you know, it's really a handicap. I'm more of an art groupie, and and I just would love to be able to do this stuff. I've always wanted to be able to draw. I've got like 5 books on drawing that that have not done the trick. So I'm really hoping that this, in fact, I have confidence that Terry Lynn's going to be able to do what no one else has been able to do, and teach me how to draw.
Oh, you got a lot of expectations.
No pressure.
No pressure.
No, it's pressure.
I'll try. I'll do my best. I'm beginning to think that maybe I'm going to need to move faster than I had originally planned too. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. Is that everybody? I'm
Yes.
spotlit, so I can't see everybody in the class.
Yes, you are, everyone has been covered, and I'm texting actually right now, Tammy, just to make sure she remembers it started today.
Yeah, my mother just called because I'm supposed to take her to the hairdresser this afternoon. She's probably worried about that, but
Aw.
Told her I was teaching this morning. That's a trick about using your phone. The phone has the best camera, so that's why I use it on this.
You know, you can turn it on Do Not Disturb, yes?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. I didn't
All
do
right.
it. But sometimes the no notification still comes through sometimes. It's weird. Anyway, so, all right. So we are going to start. I want to check my things, greetings by syllabus. I want to kind of go over what we will be dealing with. I have so many windows open right now. It's tricky. Nope, it's not that one. Sorry. Anyway, what I want to do this today is, there it is. I'm going to screen share.
Yeah, and you should be able to do it, right? Good. There you go. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
This is kind of, you guys believe, I think you got this. So just this applies. This was simpler. This is basically what I used last spring, but you can just use, I use drawing paper. So you can use printer or drawing paper, that's fine. I said a number 2 graphite pencil. What Pam and I tried to do last spring is find supplies that people had right in their home and they didn't have to worry about it. There are better drawing tools that I think you get that information, and you need an eraser. Don't want you to use it too much, but it's sometimes just for major corrections at this point. And then the instruction sheets. So this week, I'm going to go over the supplies, talk about 2-dimensional shapes, and we're going to practice that. My plan is next week to hit into 3-dimensional. So we're taking that 2-dimensional piece of paper and creating, I can send this to you if you don't have it, Donna.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah, I
don't know
have
why I
that.
didn't get that. No.
I didn't get it either.
Okay, well, this is kind of my syllabus, so I don't always send this out. And it
Okay.
changed, this can change. This is subject to change, that's why I don't say.
Okay.
Then we'll go into 3-dimensional shapes on paper, and that's creating that illusion on a flat piece of paper that something has depth as well as width and height. And then we'll start working from some life objects, because if you're out doing plein air, there's some great plein air group in Asheville that you can join, and they all get together, go out, paint outside or draw outside, whatever you want to do. And then as we go into week 4, we're going to start really making it more complex. In there, I will be also talking about perspective, but I'm going to simplify it. Tell you, the first year I taught perspective, it was week 3, and people got so discouraged by it. I had people dropping out of the class. This is like 30 years ago. So I've learned how to present it simply so you can get it well without getting really frustrated. Again, here, is this the one you got?
Yeah, and actually the agenda was sent out in the 2-day reminder. You should have gotten 3 attachments. One is what Terry Lynn, I think, is getting ready to show you. The other one was what she thinks she just showed you, unless she updated it. I sent out.
No, I haven't.
Not whatever I sent you the other day, Terry Lynn.
I've had a really busy week, yeah. So.
Okay, and then the other one is how to get onto Zoom. So if you
Yeah.
don't have these, just let me know, and I'm happy to resend them to you.
Yeah, I drove up here. I had to go to Raleigh to a show. I got an award in that, which was nice. And then it was during that heat wave. So I drove 3 days in this heat wave to get to Maine, got to a pastel society retreat up here. It was again for 2 days. We could barely go outside. It was so hot. Then it went to 50 degrees and cold and damp. This is Maine. So, and after the retreat, I came here and I had the presentation, and I do all the IT work for some of the societies, because it's amazing how many people don't know how to work IT, you know, the technology. So sorry, here is, so I apologize, I haven't updated things really clearly, but again, a general guide. Here is some other pencils, sketch pad or paper. I'm going to show you this again as I go through it, and we're going to learn just techniques with line, form, and the 2D shape, 3-dimensional shapes. Then we'll start working on the composition, the proportions and relationship, how each thing works in size and relationship to the others, and your point of view. And then we'll go into some shading and stuff. And these tools in 4 weeks, I think I can do pretty well getting you enough basics so you can go off on your own and really start practicing. And I'm always available. I mean, you can email me and say, I'm having trouble with this. Can you help me figure it out? So fill the paper is good. Don't have a big piece of paper and draw a tiny little drawing on it. I had one guy do that and I told him time and time and he just couldn't get away from it. Like, use your paper, you have it there for a reason. And then there's rules. So we learn the rules first and then we can break them later, but like composition rules and stuff. So that's kind of the guide. And here is you got this one, I believe. You get this, Pam?
I don't think they got that particular one.
Okay.
But when we get done today, ladies, Terry Lynn and I will always confer after all the classes, and she'll just send me any of the updated stuff, and I'll just send it on to you guys. So
This was one of the
You don't have it.
attachments this was one of the attachments you sent.
You did have this,
Okay.
Jean. Okay, good. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Jean.
Again, this is just reiterating, but line,
Oh,
the
yeah,
two-dimensional
she's got
shape, how we can use expressive or varied line and contour line. And this kind of gives an idea of what they are. So we have a basis of communication with terms and things. We can talk about things being expressive, relaxed, angry, peaceful. How do you create those lines to give those feelings in your drawing? Varying the line. You don't want just a solid straight line. You want to be able to vary it. And that helps create weight or light effects just by how thick or thin your line is sometimes. Plus it makes the drawing more interesting. And contour is the outline, what we call the outline shape of something. We'll start with that, but in actuality, there is no outline to things. Everything's, even a piece of paper is slightly three-dimensional if you look at it microscopically. So contour is like an illusion, but it's something we build off from and we use in our work. If you look at Leonardo da Vinci, a lot of his paintings, the edges of someone's face, if he's doing a portrait, just slowly kind of fade back because that's what happens in reality. And the nice Italian term for that is sfumato. So that's soft blending. So today we're going to work with our two-dimensional shapes, the basic two-dimensional shapes, and I'm going to repeat these things. So I'm introducing it and I'll do repetition. Once you've had enough, say, look, I got it. So you have basic shapes. You have the circle, the square, and a triangle. Those are our basic two-dimensional shapes. Anything like an oval is just kind of a flattened circle. A rectangle is an elongated square. So almost any shape you want can build off from these three basic shapes. And then we'll combine them, put them together. Then we get into the three-dimensional shapes. Here, we start thinking about how the circle becomes a sphere and also a cylinder. And a square can become a cube. And how do we make that work and going back in space? That's where perspective comes in quite a bit. And then the triangle, if you spin it on its central axis, it becomes a cone. Or if you build it together, you get a pyramid. So those are three-dimensional shapes. Here's a drawing that has very even lines, as I talked about up above. See how even they are? Looks like a coloring book. Where if you vary the lines, all of a sudden you can see with this little sketch here, just with lines, that the light is coming down this way, because that's the lightest spot, and it's the lightest spot over here. There's probably shadow over this way. Plus those heavier lines make weight and help the objects to sit down on a surface. Up here, these are contour lines. Yes, it follows the outline, but it also follows the shape as it changes. And these are just lines. That's kind of cool, actually, right?
Yeah.
How you can use curved lines and it follows every contour going around, and it gives you that three-dimensional feeling. This one as well. And this, the weighted lines, the darker lines come at us because there's more contrast and interest there, where they want that back of the shell here to fade off in the distance. So you make it lighter, like there's fog or something, just more atmosphere between us and the back side of that shell. That's actually called aerial perspective or atmospheric perspective. So that's what that sheet kind of just helps for reminders. It's a nice little cheat sheet. Whoop. Any questions so far? So quiet. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to go on to my next share screen. Just open Windows. Whoop, wrong one. There it is. This is one of my drawings, and this is based on that same idea that the shell sketches we just saw. See how the weight helps indicate shadow or light. This is an old drawing. I did this way back in like college, long time ago. You can also use a line. This is a friend of mine's drawing. There's no real shading here. This is all line. And you can see how it indicates, again, the weight, the contour, the feeling of that body of the oxen. And then this, by just those lines, indicate shadow, right? One of the nice things is it also, like especially here, here's kind of just straight lines across, but here, he followed the shape, that contour again. So you can see these lines are curved here to follow that shoulder. This one's up like this, a little further apart, catching more light, indicates that backbone. And then just a little squiggle down here are just kind of indicating shadow underneath. But again, it's all just line. I like how he lightly indicated this backbone here to help.
Mhm.
Those cows look like they're snuggling on each other.
Don't they?
They're cute.
This was at a fair. We had a college professor who, and I always like this drawing for this example, but she would send us out to the fair every year. Send us off to the fair.
To draw the animals there.
Draw the animals because
Oh,
they weren't
cool.
going to move around much. And yeah, I mean, we had
That's
figure
cool.
drawing and stuff, but it was nice to draw that. And I did this nice one of a bull. And the guy who owned the bull liked it so much, I gave it to him. So I
Oh, fun.
don't have that drawing anymore. Here's kind of a crazy one. This was an assignment that's talking about emotion. So my shoe, I had to make my shoe look sad. So you can see the lines are all kind of drooping and kind of heavier toward the bottom. And that was kind of crazy. This you could say too, look at this paper. This was not high quality paper. You don't need super high quality paper, but we used to draw on newsprint, and newsprint has natural acid in it from the tree. And that acid is what creates that brown idea. And you can get a decent paper for not much money that is acid free. So.
But you know, for that assignment, even the paper, sad, right?
I planned it that way. No.
Yeah, I figured.
It was funny. After a few years, I'd put stuff in a portfolio. I pulled them out and the edges were just crumbling from that. Nice thing in Asheville, you've got Cheap Joe's, but of course, a lot of the supplies you can also get online. There are some great online companies that sell just art supplies, but Amazon's actually getting into it now too. I just try to give my business to, smaller.
That reminds me, any of you guys in this workshop, you can go to Cheap Joe's, tell them you're registered for a purple crayon or you're in a purple crayon workshop, and you can get your 10% discount while you're in the workshop.
I did that yesterday.
Yay!
They're nice. And if they don't have it on the shelf, they can order it. If it's in their catalog, they can order it for you. Here's some, again, feathers, just using the variety of line and how that creates interest. These are some of my student drawings. I used to have feathers. I liked that. I don't have feathers for you. Just little bits of, I think this was eucalyptus or something. Leaves. So these are ideas that you can use as during the week if you get a chance to practice your drawing, and always be thinking about it, the weight of the line. She did some here, but not a lot. These are high school students. You guys, my feeling is if you can write, you can draw, right? Everybody knows how to write with a pencil. You have the lines and the know-how to just translate that into drawing. All you need is a little more ideas of maybe perspective and other aspects going along. You don't want to always include too much. Just here's some very simple, strong lines, design going up, pulling off. You can see the lines here, very soft, like distant rocks. This is Dürer. Dürer was a, let's see, when was he alive? 1500s, Dutch painter. He's the one that did the praying hands that are so famous. Are you familiar with those praying hand drawing? Yeah. So look, this is tricky. This is a great practice. Doing fabric only with line. Here's some nice apples and cherries. These are common objects you have around the house. I do not know whose drawing this is. I apologize. I think it's Rubens, but I'm not positive. Sepia. But look how these masters, this is his sketchbook, nothing was perfect. They don't start out perfect. Look how many lines he did here until he got the idea of the one that he really wanted. And then when he translates that into his painting, then he can refine it at that point. But you can see at first he had the foot up here and he decided to bring the foot down this way. So you don't have to erase every little like mistake either. Then you get somebody like Matisse, simplified it, boom. Again, so it doesn't have to look like this looks realistic. This is abstract. That's fun too.
We have Matisse in our bathroom, by the way, just so you know, that exact drawing, I think.
Well, you gotta let him out, Pam. I've told you. I'm sorry. That was bad.
Ours is an IKEA version, so not
Oh, yeah.
the same as the original.
Picasso. He did use ink after, but you can see his simple line drawings. He worked hard. I mean, he didn't start here. Picasso was an incredible draftsman. If you look at his early work, it's very realistic, but he was aiming always to simplify and convey the image and the emotions of that image in as few lines as possible. Or you can do this. Now, drawing was very important back along because they used to, they didn't have cameras or digital printing. They had to print it via etching or engraving or on a limestone rock. What is that called? Lithograph. Sorry about that. Lithography. So you had to draw, and that's how it is. Like if you look at a dollar bill, that's engraved. They take a metal plate and they cut the lines into the metal plate. There's a Picasso, very simplified. You can see what for Picasso, what was important to him on this bull. Do you see it, right? Yeah, everybody see it smiling. Yep. And here's something very simple. You know, this is a world-known drawing, and it was just so simplified. He didn't start here. He built to this, actually. So these are just some quick examples of ideas that you can work toward for drawing. And go ahead. Like sometimes you can just go to Google, type in, I've started using DuckDuckGo. Is anyone else using DuckDuckGo for research? Yeah, Pam. It's more private. They don't use the cookies to follow you. Sometimes you still have to go back to Google, but you can Google image like drawing and see what's up. Now, be aware that a lot of people are uploading pictures and some of them are not drawn well. But if you find the masters, then you know you're going to have good examples. All right, how am I doing? Doing good, okay.
I was just going to check in with Jean. Jean, I know you have your video off and you have your audio off right now too, but I just want to make Jean H. Are you, sorry, Jean K. Jean H, is Terry Lynn still freezing on you, or you're doing better with having the video off?
Your microphone's off too, Jean.
Yeah. Maybe she's off.
I don't
Maybe
know,
you guys are just gonna watch the recording. Okay, well, I guess, oh,
oh,
there's,
there she is.
It's
See?
not really working. So I have this master thing that is supposedly, it's a new house and supposedly it goes everywhere in the house.
yeah.
But what I can do is I can get an Ethernet connection out of that big box
Ah,
and use the connector.
okay,
And next week I'll do better.
that's fine. I
because
just want to make sure.
everything is kind of frozen, but I figured I could always go back and look at the video. So I'll just kind of rock along with what I can do till then.
Yeah.
Wonderful, Jean. Okay, thank you.
This was supposed to
Even
be,
your audio is breaking up a little bit, so there's something about the
Yeah.
connection there. But, okay.
so it's supposed to be the super connection, that was because we don't get cell service. So, it's AT&T was the only thing we could get. It comes in and it goes to a box, and, there are little things all over the house that I was kind of worried about all of that. But anyway, it doesn't work.
So you're not on a cable, you're through.
It's a cable from AT&T.
From AT&T.
That's
Okay.
all that was available up here.
Sometimes that's frustrating. You up in the mountain?
I'm up off of Chuns Cove Road, but there isn't anything but AT&T up here. Unless they said for $4,000 I could run a cable up here. If
Oh,
I
there you
wanted
go.
to.
Yeah. You get a
Yeah,
fiber
so-
cable or something. I
Yeah.
had a friend
so-
out in Oregon who did that. She teaches online a
Yeah.
lot, and she had this beautiful studio and fancy equipment, and she brought a fiber cable into her farm, and it went a long way. I have no idea what she paid for that.
Yeah, I'll be on it next week.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to. Ethernet does make a more direct connection, and it's nice. But we'll get through it. It'll be fine. All right, double checking my things. Are we ready to draw? I want to switch to my. Oh, how did that flip? There we go. It's funny just sitting there flip. So these are my tools, paper. I did bring in both. I do have some just plain printer paper. I have a sketchbook. I have multiple sketchbooks. I like keeping sketchbooks with me. This one I got at, this one I got at Cheap Joe's, Kilimanjaro. This I like because it's got heavier paper in it. It's a watercolor paper. And so I can do sketches like this. I did this on location the other day, working with my perspective. But in between each of the heavier sheets, there's also a thinner sheet. So depending on what you put in there, it kind of protects it in between. Like if I'd happened to do a pastel on one of these, then I have that paper that's right there. It's just another little sketchbook. I like the ones that have the ring binders because you can flip them like this and lie them flat when you're working. You don't have to. If you have the other kind, that's okay too, of course. But I like when I'm out drawing, sometimes I'll be standing and holding it while I'm drawing, and it's quicker that way. I don't even know what's in this one. I have so many sketchbooks sometimes. Oh, look at the little geese. So then I have my ebony drawing pencil. Did you folks get the ebony one? You don't have to. It just tends to have a nice dark lead on it. There's also one like this that has no, it's not in wood. It's just all what we call the lead. This is actually graphite. It's not lead at all. So that's what they used to write with lead, but then of course realized it was dangerous. This one is kind of nice. You can use it at the tip on both of these, but you can also kind of lie it on its side. So when we get into shading, even though you have a graphite pencil instead of charcoal, you can get a nice blended effect with the pencil. If you have like a regular writing pencil, the 2H or 2B, those tend to be harder. Let me do a quick little diagram with your pencils. It's kind of like a algebraic equation, I guess is what it is. So you have your HB. Okay, is that big enough to see or no? It's a little small. Okay. Okay, HB, there, that's better. So that's kind of the middle. And as you move out from that center line, if you go towards the H, like 2H, 4H, 6H, that means hard. So as you go that way, the harder the graphite is, the lighter the line it's going to make. If that's clear. So the softer, the darker the line. It's just going to lay down more of the graphite onto the paper. Like if I had a 6H, my line might be very, very light. You can hardly even see it. Where if I have a nice, I go the other way, 2B, 4B, 6B, etc. And I think it goes up to 9. Then it's darker. Let me see if this doesn't say. And you can get a pretty good dark with the softer ones. That being said, there's a trick with graphite. If you look in the light here, see how it's shining? It reflects the light. It's smooth. So that's always going to happen with your graphite. There's no way around that. I'm going to be right back. Did somebody just leave?
Let me take a peek.
Just sounded like somebody left.
Sound like someone fell off.
Yeah,
I think it might have been Jean. Yeah, it's the other Jean.
it is, Jean. Okay. This is charcoal. This is like a pastel charcoal. And you can see here, this is my graphite dark, and that's about as dark as I can get. And again, it's shiny. Where this, if I use this, look how black that is. So that's kind of a nice thing about pastel or charcoal. You get black blacks and it is not shiny. But you can see I put it on and created a little bit of dust. So that's your drawing pencils. And then somebody a question? Okay. There's pens and other things like that that you can use. Then I have a sharpener of some sort. I just happen to have this because it carries easily with me and it's pretty good quality. Nice thing too, it's got this ridged edges down here. See, wait, let me see if I can get this. See how it's kind of ridged? So when I'm working with pastels and I want a texture, I can just scrape my painting like that and it makes this like lined texture. That's kind of fun.
Is that what that's for? Those ridges?
No, I just grab tools. I will grab, see the lines?
Yeah.
I will grab sticks off the ground to add what we call marks. In pastel, mark making is very important. This is my kneaded eraser. Write that down. I'm not sure what kind of K-N-E-A-D, like kneading bread. Because when you use it, you know, you can use it, it gets dirty. And then you do this stretching thing that just kind of cleans it somehow. I always wonder where it goes, but it disappears. I'm wondering if it just kind of floats off in the air, but I've tried it on white paper and I don't see that it does that. After a while, it does get dirty. And it's also sometimes when you're talking, it's just kind of therapeutic.
That's what I was going to say. It looks like a really good stress reliever.
It's a nice little stress reliever.
So if you have one of, I have a question. If you
Yes.
have one of those, would you just pinch off a little bit to use at a time?
I pinch off a little bit. This is about maybe the size of my thumb. I mean, you can use the whole thing, but you don't need to. You can use it. The nice thing with this is you can see if I can get that charcoal back again. I'm going to have black hands. You can pinch it down. And if you're careful, you can get fairly thin lines. This is not going to show really well. I apologize. You know, you can make a point. You can make an edge by just shaping it. And I just kind of going over that a few times. You can also erase larger areas. See how the charcoal is not going to come totally off that piece of paper. And you can also, if you want an interesting texture, you can kind of just mush it up and mess it up, and then kind of roll it if you want. And it doesn't show greatly for you, but you can see that it's almost like soft clouds or something.
Are these things that you're showing us the main benefit to, I mean, like versus a regular eraser that you might have on the end of a pencil? What's kind of, how does that?
This is more artsy.
Okay. So what, you were the cool kids with that, or?
Yeah. Say, I get my kneaded eraser. There's another one called Art Gum, which comes in a little block, kind of a tan block that I like too. The one on the end of a pencil is basically plastic, and it can kind of smudge your drawing. It can kind of make a mess, and it's not as versatile. It can't make all the different shapes and things that you want.
Oh.
I mean, it works okay. If that's all you have, it works. So,
But okay, that's helpful. I never really knew the difference.
yeah. And for different things, I find I like different erasers. If I'm doing a full charcoal drawing, I would use the kneaded eraser, and I don't have one here right now on me. Just because it'll pick up the charcoal better than this.
Wait, was that the one in the square, in the little container? The needed?
This is the one in the little container, yeah.
Okay, you just said you don't have one, a needed one.
I don't have a gum eraser.
A
Did
gum,
I'm
gum.
sorry.
That's okay.
The gum eraser, I don't want that, is basically it's kind of a elongated
Oh, I know exactly what that is.
like that, and it's tan, and you
Yes.
can break pieces of it off and get a nice sharp edge on it for a little bit, and then you use it up and it's kind of gone. All
Gotcha.
right.
Okay.
That's kind of it. Any questions before you get your pencils out and start drawing?
I have one more question about the eraser, the kneaded eraser. Does it need to be kept in plastic when it's not in use? Does it dry out?
It does not dry out. It will pick up particles that are around. I mean, it can get kind of dirty, but I usually have a half dozen or so, and I'll use a piece at a time. And when it gets to a certain point, it'll start getting very sticky or something. Then get rid of that piece and get a new one, get a fresh one. They're not that expensive.
No.
Good art supplies often cost a little bit more, but it's worth it to get things that are a little better. It's too bad, but a lot of beginning students especially use what they call the student grade. And you've got to overcome limitations with those supplies. So if you have a little, like if I start somebody in pastels, I make a suggestion for a small set, but a small set of really good pastels can cost them $50 minimum. And then some good paper. But that's nice instead of, if you try to do pastel on this smooth paper, almost impossible. It's very tricky. Look at me. See, I'm still using my eraser. You can tell I'm still, I stand here talking, I use it. All right. I want to get you drawing. I also want to introduce Padlet to you folks at the end. A couple of you know how to use it already. So if you can get a clean piece of paper, we're just going to go over your basic shapes and just kind of get your hand going, drawing. Now, if you notice, if I'm writing, I hold my pencil like this, right? But if I'm drawing, I tend to hold it this way. You can back off a little bit. This is going to keep your drawing a little more relaxed, a little more interesting. And if you have to for a detail, you can do that, but it's kind of better. And I'm using, you can see my arm. I'm not really just using my wrist. I'm using kind of my arm to move it. So I will draw in the air until I feel I kind of have a circle, whoop, and then I'll put it down. See, now I'm doing the thing that the other person, remember that drawing? So that, go ahead and try that. Just try to get a couple of circles. And if you can't get it quite circular, this is a great thing to do. You turn your paper over because your hand's going to curve a different way. Our hands normally, this is our natural curve like this. And if you're trying to do a curve this way, it's not natural. So if you need a nice curve, turn your paper so that's happening, and then turn it the other way, and you'll get a better curve that way. So there's nothing wrong with moving your paper around. So go ahead and draw a couple of circles so you're comfortable. Pam, is she having trouble coming on and off?
Jean was just she signed on with an additional device, so I think she's just playing right now to see if she can.
Yeah, okay.
see it.
Yeah. That's it.
No worries, my friend. Jean, I was just thinking, with this class, you're going to be like a pro with the tangling stuff. You'll be able to make those circles as good as Amanda eventually.
That'd be nice. I'm gonna have to watch it again because I'm missing a lot, but I
Yeah.
think there must be something with the service because I can usually Zoom pretty easily.
Okay.
So I'll just do what I can.
All right, honey. Thank you.
So it's not your first time Zooming and you're finding a situation with it. Yeah. So you can use your eraser a little to pick it up, but you don't really need to. It actually looks a little more artistic if you leave some of those other lines, then you can come in and define them after. So if I tried another circle, I do it very lightly at first. How light is that? Yeah. Then I can come in. Remember we talked about the weight of the lines? I can leave that up there very light. I can add, as I press down, I can make the weight heavier. Turn my paper. I got this other one in the way. There we go. See, and just something as simple as that kind of indicates that the light is coming from up in this direction. This is more shadowed. It's darker down here. It has weight. It's probably sitting on the table.
So Terry Lynn, you don't use the middle of a masking tape roll to make your circles, I guess.
Wait, what? What?
Using the middle of a masking tape roll to make your circles. That's sometimes what I do.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, there you go. See how perfect that circle is? How easy it was?
Yeah. So much quicker. Not as much personality.
No, it doesn't. It's
It's
certainly
got
not.
some more personality. And I think as artists, we don't want to have our art look like other people's arts.
No.
Everyone is an individual, and that's why we're doing art, is that self-expression. We want to, maybe you've got an apple in the middle of the table and 20 people are drawing that same apple, but everybody's doing it differently. Even if they're trying to use the same approach, we can't help that our own personal creative spirit comes through when we're drawing and painting.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That one definitely doesn't look nearly as artsy as the other fun one, the other nice
Right. So I didn't really talk about lines, so I meant to do that. If you want a calm line, of course, you're going to kind of keep things horizontal. I got to go darker so you can see what I'm doing. You know, calm, sweet like that, a little heavier, darker down at the bottom, possibly. If you want something that's energetic, you're going to work more with vertical lines and diagonals up that way. That adds more energy, of course, like, you know, the lightning bolt kind of thing. If you want squiggles, you can just take your pencil. See how I'm just kind of turning it and moving it around. I press down harder at some points, and some points I kind of lift up lighter. And it's creating just a fun, interesting line. So that's a great way to doodle every now and then. I know somebody mentioned Zentangle before, and Zentangle, I believe, has it's more like a coloring book, right? Very consistent outlines and very consistent lines that you can fill in, which is nice too. That's very therapeutic. So sometime play with that. Just
Although some of the organic tangles do more what you're doing right now.
do they? That's good.
Yeah.
Is that showing? Oh yeah, it
Mhm.
shows pretty well. Yeah. Any questions? You having fun with it so far? Okay, I'm going to turn this over. What was our next shape? Do you remember?
Square.
Square, right? Easy. But again, this is not a natural way for our hand to move, right? The natural way is this way. So I'm going to turn the paper so I can just very easily draw a couple lines that way, turn it this way, a couple lines that way, and try to do it, just do the line. Because then if you try to do it really slowly, it doesn't necessarily come out as straight. Right, because you're working on it and it's kind of hard. There's no variety of line there, but that's okay. Another trick, and I learned this from a graphic design instructor, is if you want a really straight line near the edge of the paper, they have a whole bag over here of different pencils and things that I keep. You can take your little finger on the edge of the paper and hold the pencil still and kind of get rigid. And I'm holding it like I'm writing now. And just kind of run your finger along the edge of the paper like that. And you have a nice straight line. You could do that. Whoops.
Will you not get a paper cut that way?
Well, I'm not right on the edge of the paper. I'm on this side. See, this has got depth.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, and I also noticed, so that one you're bringing your line toward you. And when you were making the other ones, you were pushing it away from you. Will some people prefer to draw with them towards them, the line towards you?
Do it away as well. I'm just used to this because when I'm framing, I also use a razor blade and I'll cut that way.
Yeah.
This way, when I'm doing this, I have no support. My hand's free. It's up in the air.
Uh-huh.
There's no support there.
So that always works better away from you.
But here I've got the support. So no, I don't know. It's up to the individual.
Okay, because I think that's what we were sort of finding in the tangling thing, drawing straight lines, that some people, it was easier going away from them and some it was easier pulling it towards them.
A lot of that has to do with muscle memory and what your hand and arm, what your body's used to doing.
Okay.
Yeah. I just, for some reason, have always done it this way, as I said, with a razor blade cutting off paper. If I have to put a glue edge on something, can you see I hold my finger there and I'll put the glue along like that. It helps keep it straight. And then I'll turn this for me and I'll bring it around like that. All right. And then our last one, of course, is a triangle, right? So you can move your hand. And I'm not worried if it goes over a little bit, if you really, if you want to straighten it out, you can, but that's all right. So now, this is going to be tricky because I need to share the screen again, but on my other one, on my computer. Thank you. For next week, I'll send you some objects that we can use. So here is an apple. I'll just show you, I'm going to show you a couple of these and then I'll do some drawings from, how am I going to do that, Pam?
I don't know, because last time I think you had something printed out.
Yes, I did.
Outside.
Yeah. And I don't have a printer here, but for next week. So I'm going to draw an apple. Here's a very kind of round apple. Nice to draw. Nice circle. This is still based on the circle that we used. And we're not trying to go three-dimensional really this time, but it's kind of, you can see the circle around this way. And then there's this little oblong area that's happening down here. We go and use that same circle. Now we're just thinking two-dimensional shapes, circles, squares, and triangles. You can have a circle, and maybe a triangle on top. So I'll do quick sketches of these as we go along. Here are circles overlapping each other. That's all it is. You've drawn a circle, right? Everybody has circles. You've drawn circles. You can do this. And now you're just going to overlap them and some will be heavier. See where this is darker? So you can make that line a little darker to indicate shading. These are kind of rectangles, but kind of just tilted. We're not going to worry too much about the three-dimensionality of it. And then you can get pictures like this that just have all these different shapes that you can kind of practice drawing. One trick with some of these is I want to show you, how do you make it kind of even on both sides? Our hand will naturally curve this way, but it's trickier when our hand's trying to curve up around the other way. So I'll show you a couple of tricks to that too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of these. I'm going to draw a couple and then I'm going to go through some and have you draw them too. Here's a lamp, basically a square, basically kind of a circle down here with an elongated square there. This is a little tricky. It's in perspective, but it's still based on squares. Same with a house. We're not going to deal with perspective today, but we'll get there. And these are great things. All the different types of tree, you know, you got your fir tree and your cedar, all these different trees. They have shapes as well. All trees do not look the same. And then either next week or the week after, we'll go into these basic shapes. These are three-dimensional shapes, but all we're going to have to worry about, I turn it to black and white to simplify it. Circle, elongated square, and a triangle. And then basically you have this still life. So any question? Either I'm really clear or you guys already know all of this. All right, if we can go to my paper now, Pam. Thank you. I am going to just show. So that first one was an apple, right? So we already know. We're just going to draw kind of a circle. So that looks pretty good. And then how am I going to make it look like an apple? Well, it's the same thing we just did. I'm going to weight it down a little bit here. Now, as I'm doing this and I'm going around, you notice I kind of go for a while and then I move it. That's because I've reached the end of that arc. But you don't, this is one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to do these little marks like this. You want to kind of practice the mark in the air and lay it down with conviction.
And why wouldn't you want to do those little marks? Because I know I would have a tendency to do something like that.
It just looks, it's sketchy. It looks amateurish.
Uh-huh. And that's how my drawings do look typically.
And plus you're not going to get a nice little line. You get this funny little fuzzy thing.
Yeah.
You want a nice smooth line. You know, even if it's just part of it, it's pretty smooth. And then if I wanted to make this look more like an apple, I remember that, oh yeah, I look at the shape of this and I can see where there's a line here and it's just kind of like a little U, kind of dips in, and then it's kind of just the stem off this way. And just with a few simple lines, you have an apple.
I wonder, would it be helpful? I don't know if people have fruit in their house. They could always go to their fridge or whatever and grab or their fruit bowl.
Yeah, when we go to the three-dimensionality stuff, I'm still really
Oh,
late.
you'll have to go shopping, ladies. You'll have
Basic foundation. The next apple was kind of the same thing. So I can start with a circle and then maybe a little overlapping circle like this or something. See how those two the circles are overlapping? Then I can come around the contour and I'll look at the apple. I see it kind of goes out, kind of comes down. Turn my paper if I want. Because this is a Red Delicious. This one's a Macintosh and this one's a Red Delicious. So it's got a little more shape to it. As simple as that. And this is an illusion. This is a contour illusion here where we can see this little dip and then the stem. Now, if you notice, I'm not making both sides of the stem exactly the same because I want to give it a little sense of lighting and three-dimensionality and interest and all those things. So I'll go through it. You guys are kind of playing, but what am I doing? The same thing with the pear. The pear is just kind of this apple, but the other way. You know, you've got the circle on the bottom, and then maybe the oval goes up for the pear. And I can put these pictures up so you can draw them. I'll just kind of run through a few. And actually, for something like a pear, if it's not perfect, it's going to make it more interesting. And then it has a little leaf off from it. So that's just curved line that way and a curved line that way. And you guys know how to do that. You know how to do a curve. And if you simplify it for that, you don't have to go, oh, people say, I can't draw a straight line. I can't draw a straight line. That's why I use the ruler or the edge of the paper or something like that. Your body doesn't work that way. So you know that you can do straight lines. You know how to do curved lines. This is all that you've done your whole life. Now just putting them together so it creates the combination of the form and makes things interesting. Here's the grapes. I'm going to choose one of the grapes. I'll just start with one circle. If I can draw right now. And then what I might do is go ahead and overlap. See how I'm overlapping these circles? And I kind of go around and draw it. Now, normally you won't draw every single one. You want to emphasize some, but I'm just kind of showing you generally. And then you can look at them and say, okay, this one's going to be darker. And by putting that darker, that curve, that's going to indicate this one down here is kind of in shadow and that they're overlapping each other. And if you want, you can take your eraser and kind of highlight a couple spots nice and easily. Then you look at the stem. The stem is a line going up this way, kind of goes out. Another line kind of hooks onto the vine. You know, so just look at one section at a time and figure out what you need to do. What happens is a lot of people will look at the overall like, oh my gosh, look at all those grapes. I can't do all of those. What am I going to do? Choose a bit at a time, isolate that piece, and then just draw it. The glasses were easy. I mean, it's just like, again, I think I'm going to turn my paper because I'm more comfortable going this way. I want it to come out a little bit of a curve there.
Terry Lynn, I was just wondering if you wanted to check in to see how because it looks like most of them are drawing along with.
They are drawing now, okay.
Yeah, just to see if there's anything people are doing consistently good or bad, or right or wrong, or even if there isn't right or wrong, I don't know. But better to catch them now, maybe before we keep going. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good to me. How are you ladies? How are you feeling? This is simple, right? Donna?
Yeah, yes. I think I'd like you to leave your drawings up just a little bit longer.
And just maybe let you do a little drawing and then we'll check in with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the pair. Yes.
Okay. So maybe we should be quiet for just a few moments and then you can try.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out, like Pam said, without the sketches, I'll get some printed up for next week. I'll have to go to my daughter's house to get things printed. I thought they have a printer here, but I can't get it to work. I don't know what's up. And I'll have some printed out on the side. I can't share screen and show you my drawing screen at the same time. Right, Pam?
That is correct, but
That's a conundrum.
you could send, next time you can send us the files and I can send it to me and I can send it to them and then they can print them up or pull them up on their computer or whatever.
Right. That's what
That
I'm
would
thinking.
work.
Yeah.
Okay, but we'll just chill for a minute or two and let you look at Terry Lynn's things
Thank
there.
you. That works.
It's pretty simple.
And remember, this is beginner with a capital B.
Yeah, I was gonna say pretty simple for you, Terry Lynn.
I know, I
Yeah.
just realized that. I said, I don't mean to, I'm sorry.
I have a question.
Yes.
Terry Lynn, could you kind of repeat the pulling the line toward you or pushing it away and what difference that is?
It's a matter of comfort. I think we were talking about it when I'm just lining my finger on the side of the paper. But how do I do this? Because of the way our bodies are made, this is our elbow and our wrists are like, what's the word for that? A fulcrum? Or it's like when you have a piece of machinery and you get a stick on it, it's going to curve like this naturally. That's my natural curve. To make it go this way is just awkward and my body's not built to do that. The same with the elbow. The elbow moves, see, from the elbow out of the rest of the arm. So that's why I turn the paper. Now, can I move this piece of paper? Is that
What if
okay?
you put that towards the top of the screen maybe? And then you can still have it up while you're playing with the bottom. Is that, you guys still see that okay?
Yes.
I still don't understand why my edges are cut off on that. So because the hand naturally curves this way, that's going to be a natural curve.
Yeah.
And to curve the other way, it's just easier to turn the paper to get that other curve rather than trying to do this awkward thing. Is that what the question was, Pamela?
Yeah, so, okay, it doesn't have to do with, yeah, okay, I got it.
No, that Pam Robbins was talking about that, whether to, if you're going to use your finger on the edge of a paper, whether to have it come toward you or to go away.
Well, and actually, even with the freehand, not using your finger down the side, even when you're doing it in the middle, I have found that some people seem to find it more comfortable to draw away from you versus drawing towards you.
Right. And again, it's a muscle memory of something that you're used to doing. Like, see how that line, those lines are pretty straight, right? If I try to do that in the middle of the paper, it's just not as, well, that's pretty good.
Okay, but this is Terry Lynn, who's been drawing.
It's just,
for
it's
however
not
many
as
years.
straight. Yeah, it's harder. I have to think more. This I don't have to think. It just, whoop, no. Anyway, I have to really concentrate to kind of keep that straight. If I can do it, turn the paper this way and use that of my elbow, boom. You know,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, see how I'm thinking in the air? And then I put the pencil down. Shoo.
Yeah, and I only brought it up because, again, in that Tangle group, there was a woman who had an epiphany that when she started drawing towards her, I think it just became so much easier for her. But that must be her muscle memory.
Yeah, it makes me wonder like what she's used to doing and
Yeah,
around
I don't
that.
know. I don't know.
Interesting. All right, I'm gonna try a couple more.
Okay, are you guys good practice with what she had up there? Are you ready for her to move on?
Yes.
Okay.
I know Pam knows that I try to fit so much into a lesson because I have all this stuff to, and I'll show you some of these pictures after and you can try them again.
Does anyone, by the way, want Terry Lynn to look at what you're doing so far before she moves on to the glasses?
Sure.
Okay, let's
Okay.
put you on the spotlight, Donna.
Okay.
Here you
Hi,
are.
Donna. Oh, nice.
Hi. There's the Macintosh, the pear, the apple.
Apple,
It
good.
sort of looks like a tomato to me. And grapes.
Right, that's great. Oh, nice. I used to have this exercise when they were doing you're doing black and white sketches. And I had a rock that had rounded edges and I had a potato. And then I had a ball of cotton and I'd sit them down and I'm like, if you're doing just the lines of them, they all look the same.
Uh-huh.
How do you convey that
Right.
one is harder,
Right.
one is heavier, one is fluffy, just
Right.
line.
Yeah.
So that's kind of something to think about too.
Okay.
Those are good. And
Anybody
just
else?
practice. It's like playing the piano or doing a sport, just keep going. And you
Okay.
never lose these basic exercises. Keep
Okay.
drawing. That's what fill that sketchbook.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Gina or Pam, you want to show us your stuff? I'm at the ready. And you keep me awake. No, you're good, Jean? Okay. Pam, are you interested in showing anything? You've got your camera off right now, but
Yeah, she's.
maybe she went to the bathroom. I don't know. Okay. We can move along. Thank you, Terry Lynn. Thanks for humoring me. It keeps me awake.
Keeps you awake. Back to my paper. Thank you. So we were talking about, say, a glass. You know, if it's just a rectangle kind of shape, no big deal. Usually they'll go out a little bit. Now, here's the thing. How do we make this line and this line kind of be the same? If I measured this, put a line right down the middle, you can see that it's further. See how that's not the same shape as that side?
Yes.
And some things need to be the same on both sides.
Yes.
So I'm going to look at one of these glasses here that I've got. Oh, there's like a beer glass. So sometimes the best thing is to start with a line down the center. I got to remember to draw bigger so you can see. And then measure out. So I'm going to measure out to there. I'm just randomly making a shape here. So see how those distances are the same?
Yes.
So I'm not thinking about that at all now. I'm just thinking this distance to here, and then that same distance out to there. And then here, I'm going to make a little one like that. So you can see I have kind of measured just by eyeballing it, the shape. And now I can say it's a picture for a vase for a flower or something. And I'm going to turn it over because it's easier for my hand to do it this way. See, it looks awkward, but I know I've measured it to be the same. And by that simple little trick, except for my mistake there, it's going to be even on both sides. You want to try that one now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to pick, and you can do any random
Terry Lynn, I don't know if
shape.
this is helpful at this point, but I know you've shown people in previous classes how to use your pencil as a measuring stick, kind of, to get the exact length.
That's a good thought. If you've drawn, say, one of your first lines, thank you, Pam. So nice to have somebody like you around.
Well, I think I know what would help me.
Yeah. So there's my middle line. So I can use by putting the edge, the back of the pencil right at the end of that line. And then I'll take my finger nail and put it where that line's coming down the middle. And then I can just come over here. Now what do I do, Pam? Because I get my other pencil, right?
Yeah, I know. I can't remember. It's been a while since the last class.
And you can make that mark there. So you know so you can use that for measurement. I tend to like eyeball it if I think.
Again, I always remember your eyeballs have been trained for how many?
That's true. Thank you. This is about 1 inch long, so I'm going to go out this way. Try to ignore that one. The same distance. Ignore that. The trick is you start thinking about the lines that are above it, and at this point you have to ignore it. When we draw a face, when we get to drawing a face, you're going to do the same thing. We're going to do some measurements, and you're going to have to ignore some other parts to simplify it.
I was just seeing, held your finger out there. You could use your little creases in your knuckles as you're measuring.
Yeah, I'm drawing fairly small. That's the thing. If I were drawing larger, it would work.
No, when you put your thumb out, like no, do it like you were doing before. On the top of it. I'm sorry. When you used it on the top, you could see your out. Don't worry about me. It's all right. I was using your creases on your thumb, and it was helpful for me.
Okay. So like now in here, what if this? Then you have to realize which way is this one going to curve. I'm going to curve this one this way, just because. And I'm going to curve it. See, I still do that little
What are you doing?
thing. Sorry?
I think someone maybe was talking to an animal or something.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know what I'm doing here. What if you could do it straight line? But by just that little trick, you can make both sides of something even. Because if I tried to do this alone, when I get to this other side, I have to really try, and I can see already, it's not the same curve that is. Because that's not a natural way for my hand to move. So you can see that this one works much better because you've kind of measured it out. Kind of, you have measured it out.
What is that thing you just drew?
I have no idea.
Okay, yeah,
I just invented something.
it looks kind of like a cat, but I think you're drawing a carafe, so.
I think it is too. It's like one of those drip coffee makers that you put the top thing on, but I don't know. And that would work for that lampshade that I did. I'm just gonna, you guys keep drawing. I'm just gonna, so there was a lamp. I'm gonna draw a line down. I want a nice straight line. So see, I still tilt that paper so it's comfortable. Here to here. Here. It's not quite as wide as that lampshade, so it's going to come in a little bit. So I'm using also this side of this lampshade to measure where the bulbous part of this is going to come, and it's not as far out as the lampshade. So I'm coming in a little bit here. You can watch this later on the video if you're still drawing, and come in a little bit here. So I want those to be there and there. And I can see that my square is off on the first place because I did not measure this one. That's better. So if you're drawing and you're going to do a painting on top of it, you want to get the drawing right at this point. This is the time to make any changes you need to make, because once you start painting on top of it, you're basically stuck with the drawing that's underneath. So good drawing is vital. But see, I should have turned my paper because see, that still happens.
It's good, we know you're human.
I am human.
Sometimes I forget when your stuff is so perfect.
I have a video on YouTube that somebody commented, it's like, it's so nice to know that even experienced people make mistakes. I'm like, yes. Part of the experience too is just don't ever show anybody your mistakes.
Well, I was going to say the difference between you and a less experienced person is you recognize when you make a mistake too, and you know how to fix it.
Well, it's a great thing when you get in groups of people, like when we just had this pastel retreat and we're all kind of on the same level, basically, you talk to each other and you share ideas and you can kind of give each other a light critique and say, that's great, but maybe try this, or did you think about that? And so getting together with people, it helps a lot. Socializing is great.
Even for artists, many of whom tend to be pretty introverted, I think.
I think that's why we survived COVID so well.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it. I'll put this chair up for you in a bit, but I'm going to try this chair as simply as possible. I wish I could show it to you right now. It's a little bit at an angle, so I'm just taking one part at a time. So I'm noticing that it's a square, but it's more of a parallelogram. So there's a little bit of an angle there. And then I ignore that and I look at the next one, and that's going off in this direction.
You know, one thing, Terry Lynn, you could do that we did last time is you could call up your screen and you drew the shapes right on top of the piece. And that was, I think, really helpful for folks. Are you able to do that?
I can try that, but I'm not sure how it's going to go.
Okay. Just a thought. You don't have to do whatever you want to do.
Okay. My trick is, do I do it with the mouse? What I really need is a good touchpad. All right, so here's the chair. Now I'm looking for my drawing tools. Nope, they're not there.
Oh,
There
yeah.
it is. I got them. All right. I haven't done this for a while. I haven't done it on my new computer either. All right. So here, it's kind of a square here, but also it's at a slight angle. This is hard with a mouse.
Yeah, I just wanted to challenge you.
Yeah, thank you. If I had a touch screen like on my iPad, it would be much better. But then the iPad doesn't have the quality. See, I can't
That's okay. But
control the
I don't
mouse.
know, ladies, are you finding it helpful for her to draw the shapes in? Yeah, Pam's shaking her head.
Right, see, so see that it's like a square, but it's a parallelogram. It's kind of off kilter.
Mhm.
Oh, look, I have an eraser. Oh, whoa, it erased the whole line.
It probably erases each stroke you make.
Oh, look, there's a straight line. Look how straight that line is. And then you'd look at the angle that, so I'd ignore this square now. And I would look at the angle of this. It's not horizontal, it would be kind of straight across that way, but it goes down just slightly. That's not quite right. I think you get the idea a little bit. And then we're looking at that. And we're looking at, so see how I'm just simplifying the form to get the feeling of that chair. Same here, just a little angle down. So you're just looking at this little angle here. What direction does it go off in? And see this arm, it's not the same angle as this. It's a little more straight across. Same with this one. Notice how these two are going in the same direction. And that's a part of perspective that we'll talk about. That's kind of straight down. This is also at a little bit of an angle. But you're just taking these lines and following the form. Look at that. Is that what, does that make sense, Pam? Is that good? Kind of.
I mean, I found it helpful, but ladies, I mean, I'm not taking the class. Do you find it helpful for Terry Lynn to sort of show you how her eye is finding form?
Yes,
So, yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
I mean, and this is not, I'm not really drawing here. I'm just, but this is how I'm following the form.
Yeah, but I think, you know, for new drawers, it's helpful to just be able to look at an object that you don't initially see. Oh yeah, there's a square there, there's a rectangle there, there's, you know, and then to see someone else who can just do that just by looking at something immediately. They see it's made up of circles and squares and triangles.
Yeah.
Like the
I believe
house.
that.
And I think the house, when you get to the house, I mean, you look at that house and looks overwhelming at first, but then you break it down into your, look at Donna's cats, right? And then you break it down and it's just a bunch of circles or squares or rectangles, you know.
You want me to leave that for a moment?
Okay, Jean says yes. And
Yes, I do too.
Yeah, okay, good.
So I'm often thinking of comparing everything to each other. So how I get those angles is, remember geometry in school? We all had to do geometry. So you've got your vertical, a complete vertical, that you're comparing all these angles to. The vertical and the horizontal. See if I can draw a vertical. I doubt I can. There's a vertical. And here's a horizontal. So this is kind of in my mind, you know, this vertical. And what's the angle of this back line in comparison to that vertical line? What's the angle of this side of the chair in comparison to that horizontal? You know, it's just a little tilt down. You know, we could say like 10 degrees or 12 degrees or something, but a lot of us don't remember thinking that way.
I guess you could actually literally draw a vertical and a horizontal line like that, right? So you could help.
On your paper, yeah, if that helped you, definitely do it very lightly.
Yeah.
Could even get a straight edge. A straight edge, if you don't have a ruler or something and you need a straight line, everyone, you just grab anything that's straight. You can grab a piece of paper, you know, although that's kind of hard to do. You can grab another pencil, bam, straight line. Using your tools helps.
I guess you could fold your piece of paper in half and give it a little bit more thickness. Use the fold.
Oh, yeah. For when you're using the paper as a straight edge, that's true. I can send you these actual photos in an email after class, and you can play around with them now that we've kind of seen these specifically.
Carrie Lynn, I'll just give you a time check. It's about 11:30, so you got about
Thank
half an hour.
Yeah, I want to show Procreate quickly too. Not Procreate, I'm sorry, Padlet. Padlet.
Procreate sounds interesting in and of itself.
It is. Procreate is a way of, it's an app for designing and coloring. They don't have it for a laptop. You have it for your iPhone and your pad.
It's like professional create.
Procreate.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the word
It's
Procreate.
kind of like a simplified Photoshop.
Ah, okay.
So. I want to try one more just to show you, to give you an idea of going on. So I'm going to click on, if that's okay. Wonder if those lines disappear when I go to the next.
Are you guys okay with her moving away from the chair, or do you need her to hold it up there for another minute?
Good.
Can we just have a couple more minutes on the chair?
Oh, of course.
Couple minutes on the chair.
Of course.
Donna might have been slowed down a little bit by her visitor.
What is it? The cats always know. They get right in front of you.
We have a woman in our Tangle Club thing, and her cat is constantly in front of the screen and just wants attention, I think. Jean, you know what I'm talking about, right?
With its butt in your
Yes.
face.
Yeah,
That's
on the
right.
screen.
That's right.
That's about right. Yeah, they know you're looking right at a screen all the time and they want to get in your line of vision.
Of course.
And the butt, putting the butt, oh, the butt's at the screen. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but normally you're right. Putting the butt sort of is a sign of affection or something, I think.
Affection, right? Friendly, nice, like, hey, here's my butt.
Yes. And I did see Jean pop in for a minute when we were saying if people wanted to show their work. So when we get to that point again, Jean, or anytime, feel free to, if you wanted to show your work, we will try to catch you and see if you can do it.
Thanks. I think I'll wait till next week.
Okay. Okay.
You
I
could
did get a
practice.
good pear and a good apple, though.
You did what?
And
What was
I
that?
did a good pear and a good apple.
Oh, well,
So I'm
I might be able to throw it up there. You can try, or you can wait. It's either way, whatever you're comfortable with. The main thing is that you're pleased with it.
I'm pleased with it.
All right, how are you doing, Donna? You almost done with the chair? We ready to sit in it?
I think I have to shut off the tools before I can switch.
Oh, Donna was saying something, but
Oh my goodness, look at that.
that's funny, isn't it?
It keeps the drawing.
I wonder if you can just say erase all or something like that. I don't know.
I
Donna, you're talking, but we can't hear you because your Duber's on.
I was saying I'm gonna sit in my chair, but it's gonna collapse because I can't get the back leg right.
Oh.
right. When we do perspective, there's a way to find out exactly where those back legs go.
Okay,
There's a simple little trick to that.
So just
Okay.
don't eat too much ice cream today and wait until between now and next week. You'll be good.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
lines. It's not going to hold you up. There must be a quicker way to do this. This is,
There has to be like an erase all or something, but
yeah.
it's okay. We've got the 15 seconds to do
It's
this.
interesting how it transferred over to the next drawing.
Yeah.
Notice I'm
Okay.
saying drawing better, Pam. Pam used to give me a hard time on my main accent because I would say drawing,
No judgment, no judgment.
like there was another R in there. But you're right, I did. All right, so house. All
I
right.
can show my chair,
I'd love to see your chair. Stop
Okay.
share. Hold on.
see what you think.
Good, good.
Still, the legs are a little wonky, but
Yeah, just think, you know how the seat is kind of going back in the distance on that
Yeah.
right-hand side?
yes,
That leg underneath it should kind of do that same thing.
okay,
You see what I'm saying? That same angle going back would be that back leg.
okay.
Does anyone else want to share? I'm sorry, we forgot to even ask.
You get that?
Okay, Jean looks like she's getting ready to hold something up.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Woo. Very nice.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Anyone else? Pam, are you interested in sharing?
No, I'm not there yet.
Okay, honey, no problem. And Jean will wait for you for next week. You can have your own gallery show.
Well, you can put it on Padlet too. So
Oh, true. Well, we'll show them how to do that in a minute.
yeah, what I've been doing with Procreate, Pam, while people are working is
Got it.
I'll get a painting that's partially done.
Mhm.
And I think something needs to be adjusted. What I used to do is rip off pieces of magazine or something to lay colors or shapes in to see what I could do to change it. I can do that on Procreate. So I can play around with the painting without touching the painting
Oh, cool. That is
and
cool.
then finish it in the painting. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Anyone else?
I think they're done. Pam's still working and Jean's gonna wait till her internet's a little better next week.
Okay. You're probably not going to have a chance to do this full house, but I kind of want to show you. I think I can take a screenshot that saves the lines. And if so, then I can send that along as well. I'll have to see that somewhere. All right. So draw. I'm going to use red.
You know, Terry Lynn, I wonder if you can draw an entire, like a shape, like a square, as opposed to lines. That may make it quicker and easier.
Well, that's a thought. Let's try it. But I think because there's a little bit of perspective on this, you mean like this?
Yeah.
So
Again,
there-
just thought,
That, yeah, I don't think, let me see what other shapes there are. Yeah, there's no triangles or anything.
there's no triangles.
No, but if you notice here,
Hmm.
it's okay. Oops, oops, oops. And so there's one triangle and that other triangle kind of fits within that triangle. Now, we're talking about the vertical lines that you are comparing. I'm going to put a vertical line right down through. I wanted it over more, but I'll do that. Wonder if I can move it. I don't think so. So I'm going to compare. See how this line tilts slightly. I should have done a horizontal line as well. right? So you can see there's a little gap there, and that's going to help make it feel like it's going back a little bit in perspective. And then you're going to do the same. Notice this angle is a little more dramatic. But by taking one line at a time, you can think about that. So when I was just doing this last line here, I was kind of ignoring this line over here. I was just comparing this angle with that horizontal line there. Simple, simple. Because then when you get over here, look, this one's almost, whoops, straight down. It's almost vertical, but not quite. Plus there's a little lip on there, but I'm not going to draw that right now. And then this one to that, can you see that roof line there? That actually goes at the same angle as this front one. So. And then it's got a shape. But that one's not going to be very obvious because the roof is kind of all one color. Oh, Pam, it's so easy to do squares with the rectangles with this tool. But this way you can just see the shapes that we're looking at. We're just looking at very simple shapes, nothing really fancy. Do notice that across here, the top of the window, the top of the door, all top of the windows, they're all at the same height. If I drew a blue line across that, so you can see already you're comparing one thing to another. You find some element that is going to be a foundation for you. And in this case, it's the vertical line and the horizontal line, and everything else is going to kind of build off from that. We haven't talked really about how you find, figure out how long this is compared to how high it is, but that's something you will think about too eventually. But by finding these basic lines and these basic shapes, you can draw. So we find these, then we vary the weight and the shape of the line, and you have a drawing.
You guys can all take a picture of your house between now and next time and
Oh, yeah.
show us how
Good idea.
you depicted it.
This is saving as ping. That's interesting. But now yeah, any questions so far? Let's see. Make sure I've covered everything I want to. Again, I'll send you these pictures, and I think I've saved it with actually the lines on it too. Again, this is not perfect, so these lines here are really bothering me. I'm going to remove those. And then your clouds and things are easy. Clouds are just, it's kind of a line here. They can be loose. You don't have to be exact with these. So if it goes up and down, it doesn't matter. And then just kind of the shapes. I mean, I'm tracing here. You don't really want to trace, because when you trace, you don't get that flow of your creative spirit working through the tracing. I'm doing this because Pam suggested I do it this way.
Well, I was just suggesting as far as the shapes that you're teaching them.
And look, this tree here is basically kind of a cone shape. But then that's kind of boring if you just make a cone. So it's a cone shape, but then it's irregular. So you get to do all these jaggedy kind of fun things that my mouse is going crazy with.
So your original cone for the tree, to me, I guess I'm getting hungry, looks like a giant Hershey's Kiss.
Oh, yeah, it's almost lunchtime. That's right. It's kind
Yeah.
of nice this is in the morning and then we have the afternoons. All right. I will send these.
Oh, uh-oh, I know people are, she's gonna send them. I know people are, she wants to show you Padlet, I think, before.
Yes,
Is that correct? Is that why?
yes,
So
ma'am.
hold your drawing, people. You'll get to finish later.
Do people know how to use chat? Does anyone not know how to use chat? All right, I'm going to put something in chat.
Oh, I hear a kitty.
Sorry, that's mine. Hold on. I got it. He wants to come in.
Aw. Well, let him in.
All right, in Padlet, right? I mean, in the chat right now, if you can check your chat. Shoot, I
Okay.
can't back out of Padlet. This will give you a link. What you want to do first is just go to, sorry, padlet.com. So
Okay.
you go to padlet.com and all you do is you register. It's free. It's just, they use this. This was designed for elementary students. So you can do it. Yes. So you go to Padlet, you put in your name and stuff like that and register it. And then you would go to this link right here. Why does it say YouTube? Okay, ignore that one, guys.
Well, and we'll send these to you ladies if you just want to pay attention. It's up to you.
I thought I copied it and I copied the wrong thing. Okay. Yeah, ignore that first one. That's the show from last night. So see how it says Traveling Artista, and this is my Padlet, and I'll show you what it looks like. I have lost my Zoom. Here we are. So when you get there, it will look like this. And I can put information in this column. See, there's our two instruction sheet. You can download those. You can look at them. You can do all sorts of things with it. And now I have so many screens up I can't see. Where's my X out here? Okay, there we are. And you have this, and you can upload a picture once you've registered, and then you come to my Padlet. You can see here, it's got everyone's names across. And you would upload, just going to grab a picture. I have no idea what I have here. I can take it off there's two ways. You can click on the plus and then choose a picture to put on. See, here's the upload button. And it's saying pick a file. So I'll pick a file and it uploads it right there. Another way, so it's on my desktop, sorry.
I'm sorry, Traylon, that goes straight to your computer, right? So you would find it on your computer somewhere.
You can get Padlet for your computer, your tablet or
Your
iPad
device,
or
yeah.
your phone. It comes
Yeah.
on everything.
Yeah.
Another way is you can go to your desktop, whatever that is, click on something and just drag it in. Now look, as I'm dragging in, it's asking me which column I want to put it in. So you find your column and there it goes right in there.
Okay.
So then you can upload a couple pictures and we can talk about them. You can also comment. I can say, oh, look, heart. Let's see. Brush your hair. Okay, so, then I've got a comment on there as well. And if you really don't like it, you go, oh, I didn't want to do that. You can just delete it. It's like a bulletin board. It gives us a chance in the class to put up, instead of you trying to hold it up in front of your camera and go, can you see it? Can you see it? It's here. I can click on this. I can make it large. So it's very easy for all of us to see. Very nice. Very simple to use. If you have any questions, if it's not working, just email me again. They have my email, Pam?
Yes, they should have your email several times. And Terry Lynn and I, when she was first proposing using this, I was like, I don't want people to have to learn another computer app, but we did use it for our class, and I think there's a few classes, and I think it worked really well. So if you really don't want to use it, that, you're not required to, you're not going to not be able to take this class or participate or anything like that. But well, actually, Donna, you've used it, right, for that class. What did you think of it?
I didn't use it. I'm technically challenged, but
Okay.
I'll try it this time. So you take a picture of your picture
Yes,
and then you go just to your photos and you pick that.
Yes.
right,
Okay.
right. You
Okay.
can either do it by clicking on the plus sign and doing it, or you can just grab that, click and drag it over.
Okay.
Either way.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give it a shot.
Okay. But again,
If elementary school kids can do it, I should be able to figure it out.
but if you can't, if any of you guys try it and it's too complicated or you're getting anxious or whatever, forget about it. This is not
Right.
about stressing anybody out, and there's no judgment. Don't, just because elementary school it was designed. You remember who you go to when you need a computer problem.
Yeah, kids are so much more comfortable with technology. They've grown up with it since they were babies, they just start playing with things. I can also send you a little instruction sheet or something. I have a note for that, so.
Yeah. So I just don't want people to freak out if they can't do it or don't
Exactly.
want to do it. It's all fine. It's all fine.
Okay.
True.
All right. So we've got about 8 minutes now. What do you want to do, my friend?
So we've got, I would recommend, and this is just for you, so you don't have to, but I would recommend some homework. I will send these pictures in, what's the best way to send them, Pam?
Why don't you send them to me?
Okay.
And then I will send them out to everybody else when I send the link to the recording. How's that?
Okay, on a PDF or something, just so it's not going to take tons of paper.
Exactly. That would be probably
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Maybe not every single photo, but I'll make a sheet that has these photos on it. And then next week, I'll also send, we'll do that this afternoon. And then for next week, I'll send some pictures so you can have them on hand. I will also get some printed up so we can see them as I'm working on them. I apologize for that. I normally have, I thought, last night I'm like, oh, my printer, and then I couldn't get the printer to work. And I'll give you an idea. So next week, we're going to go more into, what I'd say, going into the three-dimensional aspect, right? Taking these simple two-dimensional forms and making them three-dimensional. So you get that nice illusion of three-dimension on your paper. And if you have any questions, let me know. Yeah. Any
Does anyone
questions?
have questions right now? Because we do have a few minutes. If you want to ask Terry Lynn anything about today, or if you want to tell me anything that would make your experience better from stuff that I have control over.
And be thinking ahead too. Maybe if you have a photo or a picture that you want to work on, my recommendation is, number one, work from life, if you can. Number two, from a photograph that's yours. I do not recommend working from somebody else's painting or drawing. Okay, those challenges have already been worked out by that artist. It's okay to copy a master every now and then. You can learn a lot from them, but there's no guarantee that a painting you find online is going to be well drawn.
Okay.
I bought a pad of paper once and there was a lighthouse on the front and the perspective was off.
Wow.
That's every time I use that pad of paper. Can't do this.
Did you have a question? I see you have your hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm still on vases.
Great. Oh, that's really good.
No, that's okay. You don't have to say that. So as you can see, it was a struggle for me. And then with this one, I'm not sure. It's like, how do you tell ahead of time how far out you want your lines, horizontal lines to extend?
Right. I was just eyeballing it this time. If you're doing a specific one, you are going to be comparing like that foundation line, that vertical, you will have the height of that. You'll have a rough idea on the height. And then you'll say, okay, it's going to go out to the sides half that or a third that.
Okay, so you're comparing the horizontal to the vertical.
Yeah, in that particular case, that works well.
And you're deciding, see, it's not making sense to me. I'm sure it makes sense to everybody else, but
No, not necessarily.
how do I know how far out? I guess,
Right, I estimate, like as I said, maybe a quarter of the distance, like the height, if that's the height, I'll do a quarter of the distance, a half a distance, something. You could also just get a ruler and measure until you get accustomed to that.
okay.
You know,
all right.
say the vase is 4 inches high, and then you decide, okay, going out to one side is going to be about a quarter of that, then you're going to do an inch or a half inch on each side of that center line.
Right, but I guess my question is more, how do you choose the half or the quarter?
Measure.
Okay.
Um,
I might jump in, Sherilyn. You've
Go ahead.
shown them before, students, how you held a pencil out in front of your eyeball up to the actual thing.
Right, that's at a distance. You need to,
Yeah,
that,
the distance, right? As if you have the actual object or whatever, and that I think helped you.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're drawing smaller. Let me just do a quick, okay, can you look at my paper? Say if this is your center line, right? And if you want, until you're comfortable with it, you can do that. And you're looking at a vase and you go, oh, well, it's about, see, that's 6. Oh, gosh, yeah, right, because you're going to be measuring out that way. I would figure, is that what you're saying? Like if you're looking, Pamela, at an actual object, how you figure that out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even not looking at an actual object, I was trying to create something that looked like a vase, but really struggling with those initial lines and
Well, like if the vase looks kind of like this, you
Mhm.
can see, I'm just estimating, if that's the top of it, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's about 4 of those high.
Oh.
Do you see? So I know that this, if that's about 4 high, I'll divide this one into fourths.
Uh-huh.
Then that top one's going to be about that. There's my measurement. That's the 1/4 of it. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Of that full line. And I got to put it in the middle of that. So it's going to be there and there.
Okay.
And then if I look at the other part, I'm like, oh, that's about twice. So that's about half of it.
Uh-huh.
Down about here. See, I need a second pencil now.
Uh-huh.
See, I'm using my finger as a placeholder on that.
Mm-hmm.
So then, is this a curved line in? Does it curve out? Then you can decide from there.
Right.
How
Okay.
to connect them.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
can assure you, Pam, that you are not the only person who probably had that question. So seriously, I mean, that rule of thumb that if you have a question, chances are someone else does too, is really true. So I throw that out to everybody. If you have a question like Pam just did, please throw it out, because
Please.
Terry Lynn doesn't know what you don't know. So thank you for asking.
And there's a good chance that, I mean, I've taught people for years, but sometimes I might miss a little sort of a step or something that.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
Any other questions? It's right at 12, but we can answer, Terry Lynn can answer a question if you've got another thing. Everyone good?
Good. So do practice, play around with it. That's the best thing. Just play, find things around.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will send those pictures so you can
Okay.
play with
Yeah,
those.
so I'll get a link to the recording probably by the end of the day today. If not, then first thing in the morning. Terry Lynn will have sent me her stuff. I'll attach it to that. And then a couple of days before the next class, I'll send out the link again. We're going to use the same URL, but sometimes I know it gets buried under 1,000 email messages by then.
Yeah,
So,
and when that second one comes out for next time, I'll have a couple more attachments for papers that we can have for the next one as well.
Okay,
all right, ladies.
all
have a
right. Thank
wonderful
you.
evening. Thanks for
Thank you.
joining us.
Thank you.
Stop the recording now. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.